All right, hello class. Welcome to week 9. We are really starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel for this semester, and so what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about your weekly work, the stuff that you've got to do, or the stuff that you've been working on, throughout the last few weeks. But then towards the end of the video, I'm also going to transition into a brief mention of what's coming up, your project 4, because what you'll see is everything that you're doing right now transitions really neatly into that project. So first, let's start out with the weekly stuff. So as you'll see, we've got a couple things going on here this week. On Wednesday, you have your Project 3B. That's the final day to upload your Project 3B. So make sure that you're uploading it to both your peer group folder as well as our Dropbox here. Okay, so that way your group members can see it and ask their questions like they would do for a normal rough draft. But then also this Dropbox allows me to grade it and give you feedback. So make sure you're uploading it to both places. So by Friday, what you'll do is you'll go into your group folder and you'll make comments on your group members' videos. Essentially, what we're looking for is just some basic questions about what you saw. You could ask questions about the research they're doing, about some of the things they said, about some things that confused you, whatever it is, just the kind of questions that you would ask if you were in kind of a live audience and they had a Q&A session. So it doesn't have to be, this long-winded, question, but it should be something that engages the author and allows them to, explain or describe or discuss something in their presentation. Because what you're going to do with those is when you move into blog 6, which is due Sunday, you will respond to a few of those questions. So you will, list the question out and then you'll jot down briefly what your response would have been or would be. So for example, if you were asked, why are the authors that you found interested in this topic, you could say something like, well, it's a really emerging field because of X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. Okay, so that's the 3B stuff. You also have your final draft of your literature review due at the end of the week. Now, I will, as always, go and give you extensive feedback on the rough drafts if you uploaded one to your groups. So, make sure that if you do want feedback and if you do want those group points, you are uploading your drafts. So even if you aren't getting good feedback from your peer groups, you will have feedback from me on those before you complete the final draft. So, and so that's what we've got going on for this week. So the 3B, the blog, and the 3A. So other quick housekeeping stuff I want to mention before I start to talk about the Project 4 is by the end of the week you'll have everything back from me that you're still waiting on. So if you're still waiting on grades for anything, you'll have those back this week as well. Also, because it is a holiday, today, 4th of July, my schedule's kind of wonky. And so if you do want to set up a Skype conversation, make sure you try to schedule that earlier rather than later. I will be out of town on Saturday for a wedding, but I'm totally willing to, have a email conversation, phone conversation. We could Skype from my phone, worst case scenario, if it's Saturday night and all hell breaks loose, we can figure something out. So just make sure that you do set those up with me earlier than later so that way I can make time for you and make room in my schedule. Okay, so that gets us through the literature review. Now I want to show you for a minute what this literature review will do and what it's in service of. And so we're going to go back to our main folders. So we're going to go down to our research proposal. And so you'll see here as we read through that what we're going to do is essentially use the literature review that you're in the process of completing as the basis for this research proposal. And now a lot of students get confused by that, but you are literally going to be using large chunks of your literature review in this assignment. And so what we're going to do is we're essentially going to come into the conversation. So the literature review allows you to chronicle the conversation. Here's what's being said. Here's what's going on. The research proposal is the point where you step in and offer your own ideas, right? And so while we spent a lot of time in this class so far talking about other people's arguments, other people's writing habits and things like that, this is where your voice really comes in. And so, if you get a chance this week, look through this. If not, we'll cover this next week, obviously. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to use that literature review as the basis of your own argument. You're going to say, like, look, here's what everyone else has been saying about this topic. Now here's what I think should happen. Okay. And so it's 10 to 15 pages, but that includes a large portion of your literature review. Okay, so you're going to be importing a lot of that work into here, and then essentially adding elements to it or around it. And all of this will allow you to really step in and say, like, look, this is the problem that authors have identified. This is the problem that I chronicled in my literature review. Now here is my solution to this problem. Or if it's not a problem that you're researching, you could say something like, look, here's the topic that a lot of people are really interested in. Here's what I talked about in my literature review. And this is how I would approach this topic, right? So there doesn't necessarily have to be a problem or an issue to solve, but it could be something like, there's been a lot of improvements to safety in healthcare lately, and here's one way we can, continue those improvements, or here's one way we could, better fund those improvements, whatever it is, right? And so we'll get to all that when the time comes, but just know that this is where this is going. So this is what everything's been building up to. All right, so if you get a chance, take a look at that. If not, we'll cover that next week. But really just focus in on um, getting your assignments in, getting your 3B, your multimodal presentation up, getting your literature review up, and we will take it from there. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July, and I will talk to you later. Bye.